And welcome to our FireSmart and Wildfire Preparedness virtual session. It is June 27th, 2024, just after 2 p.m. And these sessions were born out of Emergency Preparedness Week, which was May 5th to 12th. There was a request to hold some virtual sessions for those that couldn't attend the in-person sessions. So this will be very much similar information that was presented in those presentations with some updated information and just some general information for the entire regional district. So thank you for coming. So an introduction, who am I? My name is Bonnie Logan. I'm the Wildfire Risk Reduction Coordinator for the Strathcona Regional District. I have a background as a wildfire mitigation specialist, a background in emergency management, as well as 911 dispatch and structural firefighting. I am currently 8.5 months pregnant and will be going off shortly. So we have hired a maternity coverage replacement. His name is Jeff Caring, and he will be taking over this position until roughly August of 2025. Jeff's background, he's a captain with the Oyster River Fire Department, and he's done numerous BC wildfire deployments for structural protection. So the Wildfire Risk Reduction Coordinator position, it's more commonly known as a FireSmart Coordinator. It is a new regional position within the Strathcona Regional District as of December 2023, and this position is currently being funded by a provincial FireSmart grant. This position supports all areas within the regional district, and the goal is to increase wildfire resiliency. So what is FireSmart? Like we said, a lot of people don't know what FireSmart is. So FireSmart in a nutshell is wildfire risk reduction. The official definition is a program based on scientific evidence that suggests changes to structures that are the best and most cost-effective way to increase a home's survivability to wildfire. And the biggest thing with FireSmart is the best and most cost-effective way. And these are methods that are tried and true and based on research. So it's not the Strathcona Regional District's best practices. It's not BC Wildfire's best practices. It's really a collaborative approach based on science. So FireSmart methods have been demonstrated to reduce the risk of losses under even the most extreme fire conditions. So a few things we know about wildfire structure survival statistics. So a house with a fire-resistant roof, that's going to be something like asphalt shingle, metal, potentially tile roof as well, and all vegetation removed within 10 meters or 30 feet of the home is 90% more likely to survive a wildfire. And if we look at the sliding scale on the pictogram here, if we have a flammable roof, something like a cedar shake roof, and we've done no treatment to the property and taken no defensive action, there's about a 4% chance that that house will survive a wildfire. If we do a little bit of work, but we still have that flammable roof, we're into the 20% survival. If we replace that roof with something non-flammable, again, asphalt shingle, metal roof, something along those lines, we're up to 70% survival. And how we get to that 90% is then doing that little bit of work around the property. So removing all vegetation within 10 meters of the home. So again, this is based on research and science and proven statistics. So we're going to talk about a few different things in FireSmart. Some of these things, improving your home, like replacing a roof, a combustible roof with a non-combustible roof, that is a big ticket item. The important thing with FireSmart is that it's something to work towards, FireSmarting your property. It's not all or nothing. It's not now or never. It really is about bringing awareness to hazards that are specific to your home. And when it comes time to change that roof, that maybe you make a different decision based on FireSmart best practices. So who is FireSmart? Again, this isn't the Strathcona Regional District coming up with these ideas. FireSmart is a Canada-wide program, and so in BC, the FireSmart committee consists of representatives from 12 different agencies, including BC Wildfire, Emergency Management and Climate Readiness, First Nations Emergency Services Society of BC, and the Office of the Fire Commissioner. So it's really all about collaboration. And as part of our grant funding here at the regional district through FireSmart, we have to have collaborative committee meetings as well with various partner agencies to really talk about what everyone is doing, everybody's role that is included in wildfire risk reduction. So a bit about FireSmart programs. There's a few different programs available under the funding streams. So one of the most interesting ones is the FireSmart plant tagging program. So FireSmart has teamed up with various nurseries and landscaping companies, and you'll see on the right-hand side here, there's a little hang tag that says, this is a FireSmart plant. So you might see that on some plants that are more fire resistant, and then you wouldn't see that on something like a cedar or a juniper hedge that's a little bit more flammable. So really trying to bring awareness to what we're planting in and around our houses. FireSmart does a newsletter. They also do a podcast as well. They have a neighborhood recognition program. And we'll talk more about how getting a neighborhood on board is going to increase your FireSmart resilience. In the middle is me and my FireSmart neighborhood in Campbell River. So we'd love to have more FireSmart recognized neighborhoods across the Strathcona Regional District. So if that's something that interests you, please reach out. There's the FireSmart BC education program. And so there is shelf-ready programs that can be implemented in K-12 school programming. And that is available to all teachers across BC. And that was created in collaboration with teachers. FireSmart, again, heavy on the research. So after every major wildfire, they will go in and analyze why certain structures burned and certain structures didn't. And that's how we get to that sliding scale that was on the previous slide, as they do have that research available. So they've gone in after West Kelowna, they've gone in after Lytton, after Fort McMurray, and they've analyzed why one house burnt and maybe another one didn't. And that information is available on the FireSmart BC website. And then multiple public education campaigns. So we're going to flip to the next slide and we're going to watch a video. This is a commercial that you might see on TV or YouTube. And here we go. So what that video is it's BC Wildfire and the structural firefighters giving the resident the nod of approval as he's mowing his lawn. And that is as simple as it gets for fire smarting. So a lot of FireSmart is just keeping your roof and gutters clean, keeping your yard clean and tidy, like mowing the lawn. And so the title of that one is Everyday Chores Make Everyday Heroes. So looking back at the 2023 wildfire season, it was BC's worst wildfire season for the number of hectares burnt. And this was largely due to BC's largest wildfire in history, the Donnie Creek wildfire. It burned over 600,000 hectares, which is larger than the province of Prince Edward Island. And that was up near Fort St. John and Pink Mountain. It was Canada's worst wildfire season for hectares burnt as well. And firefighting costs alone for BC were over $800 million. The insurance costs just for the Shuswap and Okanagan regions were over $750 million. Million dollars. So in West Kelowna, 189 structures were lost, and in the Shuswap, 131 structures were lost. And this isn't all the structures that were lost in BC, but these were kind of the two larger events that you may have seen in the news. And so just between firefighting and insurance costs for those two incidents, we're at $1.5 billion. And that doesn't take into account things like healthcare costs due to wildfire smoke or the other insurance costs for other structures lost as well. So there is a big push for FireSmart and wildfire preparedness and prevention. And for every dollar we spend on prevention and preparedness, we save roughly $3 to $4 in response. So how do we determine wildfire risk? So we have community wildfire resiliency plans or community wildfire protection plans. And what these plans are, they're completed by forestry professionals, and they will look at an area of interest, so a specific area within the Strathcona Regional District, and determine the wildfire risk, and then suggest some recommended actions to reduce wildfire risk. So wildfire risk class for the entire regional district ranges from low to moderate. There is some pockets of higher risk, but overall low to moderate. And each area within the Strathcona Regional District has a current CWPP or CWRP, and that was also completed with FireSmart grant funding. So on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see the one for Quadra Island, and that one was completed in 2022. It is recommended that they're updated every 5 years. And then, as previously stated, each plan includes recommended actions to reduce wildfire risk, ranging from low to high priority. And some of those actions may be to hire a FireSmart coordinator. We're doing it. Do some public education. We're doing that now. It may be to provide the fire department with more wildland training or wildland equipment. So it gives us a plan forward on where we should be focusing our efforts. And these plans are all available on the Strathcona Regional District website. So how do homes ignite in a wildfire? There's a few ways. One of the first ways is by embers. Embers travel on average 2 kilometers. We do know that they crossed Okanagan Lake last summer, which is 2.5 kilometers. But there's documented cases of embers traveling upwards of 17 kilometers, depending on temperature and wind. The other way that homes ignite is direct flame contact and radiant heat. So that could be combustible materials in and around the home, or combustible vegetation that leads directly to the structure, or from structure to structure. So the way I describe direct flame contact, that's if you were roasting a marshmallow on a stick. If you put that marshmallow directly into the fire, it's going to catch on fire. That's direct flame contact. And radiant heat is you have that same marshmallow on a stick and you're going to just put it close enough to the fire and you're going to try and toast it this time instead of having it catch on fire. And it's nice and toasty until all of a sudden your marshmallow catches on fire again, even though you didn't have the direct flame contact. So it just got close enough to experience that radiant heat from the campfire. And so we do know from the research from FireSmart that the Lytton wildfire actually wasn't caused by any trees. It was actually a structure to structure problem. They had grass that traveled up a hillside that was on fire that led to the first structure catching on fire. And from there, it went from structure to structure. So it's not always about the trees. It really is about direct flame contact, radiant heat, and embers. This is a video from Fort McMurray, so hard to believe the Fort McMurray wildfire was from 2016, 8 years ago now. And this will highlight a few things that we've talked about. So I'll talk through as we go through the video here and just point out a few things. So this is a video of as the town is being evacuated, everybody just patiently waiting in line to leave town. This is a rear-facing dash cam footage. As the video goes along here, you'll see the fire on the left-hand side of the screen. This is going to be the most extreme wildfire behavior that we see. And when we're seeing that kind of wildfire behavior, no amount of water is going to put that fire out. And at that point, it's also not safe for firefighters to be actioning that fire. So the motorcyclist behind the truck, he's going to demonstrate that radiant heat to us. He doesn't have a lot of protection being on a motorcycle and not in a vehicle. So he's going to feel the heat of that wildfire, and you'll see him kind of feeling that on his neck and trying to protect himself. And eventually that radiant heat will get too much that he'll actually choose to burn around the vehicle. We can see some spot fires also starting in the grass on the left-hand side of the screen. So it would also be from embers from the wildfire. And then as the houses start coming into view as well, we're going to see some embers catching combustible landscaping material on fire. You can really see that motorcyclist starting to feel that radiant heat. You can see the embers starting to fall on the roadway and on the vehicle. On the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see some combustible landscaping material start to ignite, something like potentially a juniper bush. Really seeing that extreme wildfire behavior in the forest. You can see the fire department actually just drive right by those spot fires. There's nothing at that point that they can do. They're overwhelmed and they're probably going to a higher priority. If we watch the house on the corner that's just being blocked by that truck currently, we can again see some combustible landscaping material start to ignite, and just how quickly that fire grows and then ignites the house on fire as well. So now we've had embers catch combustible landscaping material on fire, and then we've got that vegetation to structure issue happening. So a very powerful video that just kind of outlines a few different things that we've already talked about. So how do we protect our homes from wildfire? We're going to use the FireSmart home ignition zones. So there is 3 zones: the immediate zone that goes roughly 5 feet out from the main house, the intermediate zone that then is 5 feet to 30 feet, and then the extended zone, which is 30 feet to 90 feet. So depending on the size of your property, you might not have an extended zone, and that's okay as well. So in the immediate zone, we're going 0 to 1.5 meters or 0 to 5 feet away from the base of the house. So we want to be really picky about what materials that we put on the house and have around the house in this zone. So we want to choose non-combustible building materials when constructing or renovating our home. We want to clear vegetation and combustible materials down to bare mineral soil, and cover that with non-combustible materials like gravel, brick, or concrete. We want to avoid planting woody shrubs or trees, and we want nothing combustible to be located in this zone. So no patio furniture, doormats, or things like that. Like I said, we're going to be pretty picky about what we put in that immediate zone going out 5 feet. As we move into the intermediate zone, we're going out 5 to 30 feet or 1.5 meters to 10 meters. And this is where we want to plant those FireSmart plants. So plant fire-resistant vegetation and select non-combustible landscaping materials. We want to avoid incorporating any woody debris, including bark mulch, and keep combustible items like firewood, construction material, patio furniture, and tools out of this zone. We also want to move any trailers, recreational vehicles, and storage sheds into the extended zone, so the next zone as well. Really thinking about protecting that house, as that is going to be our most vulnerable building. Then moving out to the extended zone, depending on your property, you may or may not have this zone. So 10 to 30 meters out or 30 to 90 feet. We want to selectively remove coniferous trees. So that's pine, fir, cedar trees, also known as evergreens, and to create horizontal space between the trees. So the important thing is here that not all trees are created equal. So there's coniferous trees that are a little bit drier. They tend to have more tars and things like that. And then we have deciduous trees. So those are the good guys, deciduous trees and fruit trees. You can have as many of those as you'd like, as close to the house as you would like. They just don't burn as well as coniferous trees. We want to remove all branches to a height of 2 meters or roughly 6 feet from the ground. And we want to regularly clean up accumulations of fallen branches, dry grass, and needles to eliminate potential surface fuels. So thinking about fire smarting your property, like removing dominoes. So removing the odd domino or spacing them a little bit further apart is the name of the game. So what do we do when zones overlap? We're going to work with our neighbors as we're going to work together increasing our resiliency. So that's really where that neighborhood recognition program comes into play. And so for my neighborhood in Campbell River, we live in a duplex strata neighborhood. So I don't have to go very far until I'm into my neighbor's property, potentially even the intermediate zone. So by all of us getting together and fire smarting our entire neighborhood, now everyone is a little bit more protected. So FireSmart home assessments, these are different ways that we can teach you about the home ignition zones in your specific property. There is a self-assessment that is available on the FireSmart BC website. So this is kind of the do-it-yourself assessment. It will walk you through what we would be looking for just on a lesser scale. There's the home ignition zone assessment, which is performed by a local FireSmart representative, which is approximately 1 day of training. And then the creme de la creme of assessments is the Home Partners Program assessment, and that's completed by a wildfire mitigation specialist, which is 4 days of training. And so it's going to be a little bit more involved. It's going to look at fire behavior, building construction, things like that. And that assessment actually produces roughly a 40-page report, so very involved. So the best thing about the FireSmart home assessments, they're free. They're going to take a little bit of your time, roughly an hour and a half, for us to come and walk around your property with you. And we're going to focus on your home specific vulnerabilities, looking at the top, the roof, the most important part, and then working down and out into that extended zone. There's no obligation to do any of the suggested mitigation actions. It's not a honey-do list. We're not going to follow up and see if you did that work. Accidentally hit the next slide. And the purpose is to bring awareness to wildfire hazards. You'll receive a detailed customized report specific to your property. And the important thing here too is that funds that are generally public funds means that the information is available under the Freedom of Information Act. And FireSmart assessments are not available under the Freedom of Information Act. So that was tried and tested with the Fort McMurray wildfire. Insurance companies tried to access that information and they were unsuccessful. So the information is only available to the homeowner and the assessor. So this is a video of what you could expect during a Home Partners Program assessment.
The Home Partners Program is a platform that allows assessors, wildfire mitigation specialists, to deliver a standardized digital report to homeowners, including picture, comment, and markup, that requires a high level of training. You need to understand fire behavior, be able to identify fire pathways, and make specific recommendations to the homeowner in order to mitigate the hazards. It also allows the homeowner to update progress on their property by accessing the portal on their end, and can ultimately lead to final inspection and determine whether or not a certificate can be issued which certifies the property as FireSmart. And that can be taken to insurance companies to maintain coverage for wildfire loss, and can also be used to incentivize and augment real estate value. We're giving them a very strong foundation to work from because it's a digital report that includes site-specific photographs and recommendations inside the report. It's a great reference. The Home Partners program differs significantly from the neighborhood recognition program in that it focuses on individual properties that are looking to make change specifically on one piece of land, whereas the neighborhood recognition program is about activating groups of people to work in the landscape with the hopes that there can then be derived specific assessments for individual homes. So typically what happens when a homeowner reaches out for an assessment by a wildfire mitigation specialist is a time is going to be scheduled for the homeowner and the mitigation specialist to meet on site. They'll walk the property probably a couple of times looking at the conditions on the property, the landscape and the building envelope, stored material around it, identify hazards, make recommendations for mitigation, and then the mitigation specialist is going to complete the report and send it off to the homeowner. Really the whole process is about teaching people to look through the lens of a wildfire mitigation specialist so that they understand the nature of fire, how it plays out on the property, empower them to take action and reduce the hazard level. Yeah, it's very exciting to be able to deliver such a high quality product at the end of the day for the homeowner. It's a very, very useful tool.
So hopefully that gives you a better idea of what to expect during a home assessment. So that is demonstrating the Home Partners Program assessment, but we are looking for similar things in the home ignition zone assessment as well. So FireSmart and insurance. So you can potentially save on insurance if you participate in the Home Partners Program assessment. So FireSmart has collaborated with BCA and the cooperators to provide insurance discounts for homeowners that participate in FireSmart assessments. So BCAA offers $100 off your insurance and an additional 5% off if you implement all the mitigation suggestions. And then the cooperators is more of a case-by-case basis. So FireSmart Canada is trying to bring on more insurance companies eventually, but currently we have BCA and the cooperators. So in the previous slide, we said that we weren't going to share this information with anyone, and that's correct. As assessors or the regional district, we're not sharing this information with anyone. This would be you choosing to share this with an insurance company. Wildfire and insurance. So during a major wildfire, insurance companies may initiate temporary limitations on the sale of new policies in areas under imminent threat. So something we heard last year during the Sayward Newcastle Creek wildfire is that people weren't allowed to renew their home insurance policies, and that is wrong on the insurance company's part. So renewals of existing policies should continue to take place regardless of the wildfire threat. And so if you run into an issue like this, you need to contact your insurance representative for more information, or the Insurance Bureau of Canada. They are responsible for all insurance companies, and there is a phone number located in this slide, or a quick Google will find the same information. Some of the restrictions that insurance companies might put into place are related to new policies. If you wanted to change your deductible up, maybe potentially your insured limit on your house, or any major changes. But if you're just doing a straightforward renewal, then that is allowed even if a wildfire is burning nearby. Looking forward to the 2024 wildfire season, Environment and Climate Change Canada released their summer seasonal forecast earlier this month. You might have seen this map in the news. So there's a high probability of above normal temperatures for the summer season across Canada. The good news story here is the only part of the country that is forecast to be near normal or below average is coastal BC. And that's what this map is showing here. is the purpley blue is the below normal or near normal temperatures. So coastal BC, Vancouver Island, Haida Gwaii into Prince Rupert. And then as we go further east, indicating that there's a higher than normal or above normal chance of higher temperatures. So this doesn't mean we won't have hot and dry weather, but just that we won't see that prolonged kind of heat dome situation. BC Wildfire also did their summer seasonal outlook in early June. So the biggest thing is deep drought conditions persist in northeast BC. So again, where that Donnie Creek wildfire was in the Fort Nelson, Fort St. John area. And we've already seen the Parker Lake wildfire up in Fort Nelson this year as well. BC Wildfire expecting warmer than normal summer across the interior. And current conditions indicate aggressive fire behavior in northeast BC, along with other drought-stricken areas. We're going to talk about which areas are experiencing drought on the next slide. So a quote from BC Wildfire, it's unlikely that there will be prolonged province-wide fire activity like was seen in 2023. So looking like a good news story for the coast. So when we talk about drought-stricken areas, so we are down here on Vancouver Island. We can see that we're white and green. We are near normal or below normal for drought. And then this red area up here, Fort Nelson, Fort St. John, they are experiencing above normal drought conditions, and that's extending into Prince George and into the interior as well. So this does change every 7 to 10 days based on precipitation and temperature, but that is why we're really quite concerned about northeast BC. And then the island is, again, looking pretty good. Current fire bans, so Category 2 and Category 3 fires are currently banned across the Coastal Fire Center, which the Strathcona Regional District falls in, and that was implemented as of May 17th. This includes fireworks, sky lanterns, burn barrels, as well as binary exploding targets. So if you're within fire protection, you should also check with your local fire department, as there may be additional fire bans such as beach fires in effect. And as of today's date, campfires are still allowed. So this time last year, we were in a full fire ban, which included campfires, but this year we are still allowed. So get those hot dogs and s'mores going while you can. For the most up-to-date information, visit the Government of BC website, and then wildfire status, prevention, fire bans and restrictions, and then you can look at each fire center. And again, we're in the Coastal Fire Center. So the current fire danger rating as of yesterday, so this is updated daily. So we can see here that most of the Strathcona Regional District is in the low category, even some areas in the very low category. And that is mostly due to the January that we are experiencing. So we've had quite a bit of rain in June and even into early July. There's some rain forecasts and some cooler temperatures. So things again are looking fairly good in that situation. The next slide is actually going to be the fire danger rating from when I did this talk in May, and we'll just look at the stark difference. So in early May, we were already experiencing some hot and dry weather and some stretches of no precipitation, and we were already into the moderate category. Again, looking at northeast BC, they were in extreme and high. And this May 11th is right around when that Parker Lake wildfire in Fort Nelson broke out. So things have actually improved across the province if we just quickly move back over the last kind of 6 weeks, which is good. And then just a quick look at last year. So this is a map that Natural Resources Canada produces. And so it also is indicating the fire danger rating. This is for all of Canada, but if we look over here, BC and Vancouver Island, we were already into the yellow, the orange, and the red, so high, very high extreme as of this date, kind of last year. And this information is available publicly, and historical data is available going back to 2000. So what does it look like across BC for 2024 wildfires as of a few days ago? 285 wildfires so far, 93 that are active. 213 of those are human caused, 16 undetermined, and 56 due to lightning. The important thing with the human caused wildfires, that's anything related to a human, including infrastructure. So that could be power lines, a motor vehicle fire that spread to the bush, or something like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be a malicious fire, like someone going out and starting fires as an arsonist. Something a little more extreme for BC this year was the amount of holdover fires, or you might have heard in the news, zombie fires. There was 88 holdover fires from 2013, or correction, from 2023. And these are the fires that smoldered over the winter underground. And BC Wildfire has successfully extinguished 15 of those. And all of those were in the drought-stricken areas like the Prince George Fire Center. We are up to, I think I forgot to update this slide, roughly 350,000 hectares burnt, and the majority of those hectares burnt are in the Prince George Fire Center. So again, the area that's kind of been hit hardest last year and then is experiencing drought. So within the Coastal Fire Center, the fire center we fall into, we've had 39 wildfires. There is one active right now burning near Shawnigan Lake. 33 are human caused, 5 undetermined, 1 caused by lightning. They've all been fairly small, only 29 hectares burnt. And this is pretty much on par with last year as well as the 10-year average. So how would you know if there's a wildfire burning nearby? We encourage you to sign up for the Strathcona Regional District's free emergency notification service called Alertable. So notification is available via text, voice call, or the app. But the important thing is that you must sign up in advance to receive alerts. And that information is available on our website. And this will call landlines, it will call cell phones. So it is very all encompassing. And if you sign up for the app, you can also sign up for alerts in other jurisdictions that use Alertable as well. The BC Wildfire app is another good resource. So this will have the most up-to-date information on fire bans, active fires, and you can also report wildfires through the app. You can also set saved locations to receive push notifications, and that's what this is demonstrating in the middle. You can set a location such as your home, or this one says Aunt Kathy's house, and then set a radius around that you'd like to receive a notification if a wildfire is put on the map. You can also report wildfires via star 555 on your cell phone, or through the 1-800 number as well, or like I said, through the app. So evacuation alerts. This means you need to be ready to leave on short notice. And it's not too late to FireSmart your home at this point. So this could potentially be a wildfire burning a few kilometers or 10 kilometers away. And we can still move combustible materials 10 meters away from our residence, secure the gate in the open position to again create a bit of a fire break, mow the grass and weeds nice and short, and then clear the roof and gutters of debris as well. Evacuation order. If we do issue an evacuation order, that means you're at risk and you need to leave the area immediately. In a perfect world, you are put on evacuation alert, and then eventually that evacuation alert could be rescinded, or you may be ordered to evacuate. But things can happen so fast and so quickly, it may go straight to an evacuation order. You may be placed on evacuation alert and never be ordered to evacuate. If you choose to stay behind in an evacuation order, you are mandated to stay within the confines of your own property. There's no ability to leave to go get more fuel or supplies and come back. And if you have any minors in your household as well, they will be asked to be removed from the dangerous area too. There's no guarantee if you stay behind an evacuation order that someone will be able to come rescue you if something changes and that you do feel unsafe, because now they're putting themselves at risk. So know that if you stay behind, you are in a risky situation. So again, if you're on evacuation alert or there is something going on nearby, it's not too late to do a little bit of last minute fire smarting, and FireSmart has made it very easy with the emergency wildfire preparedness checklist. And they've got a few things that you can do in the last few minutes if time permits, like clearing dead plants, mowing the grass, and removing some other vegetation. And again, we did this presentation during Emergency Preparedness Week. So if we are evacuating, we want to have a grab and go bag packed. So a few things already ready to go in case we do need to leave on short notice. So things that we would include in this would be food and water, phone charger and battery bank, maybe a small first aid kit and personal medications, some toiletries and items such as contact lenses or glasses, and copies of important documents such as insurance papers and identification. We do get asked about sprinklers quite a bit. So WASP sprinkler kits are commercially or available to residents. You can purchase these through online through the WASP website, or some of our fire departments do sell them at a discounted rate. The important thing with sprinklers is that they are a tool in the toolbox, and they need to be used in conjunction with FireSmart best practices. So purchasing sprinklers, setting them up, and then running them is not going to guarantee your home that survives in a wildfire. One kit protects a typical residential house, and if evacuating, the best practice is to have them hooked up but not turned on, as you can potentially flood your house or run your well out of water, or other things as well. So having them there ready to go is going to be the best practice. And if you're looking for more information, you can contact Jeff to arrange for a free home assessment. His email is wrr@srd.ca, so wildfire risk reduction at srd.ca. You can take the free FireSmart 101 course. It's about 1 hour. It's online, it's free. And then you can visit the FireSmart BC website, look at some of their research and other information available, or you can ask questions as well. And thank you everyone for joining us.